Coming to you virtually real from the Greenville mother. Coming.
As well settle in, it doesn't get any better from here.
It's all downhill. Coming to you virtually real from the Greenville Beer Exchange, or BGA. God.
Russ, you forgot to rehearse your lines.
I know. Well, I've been occupied. Coming to you virtually real from the Greenville Beer Exchange, or GBX as the cool kids call it, on Lawrence Street in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. I'm Russ Heaps, and welcome to this episode of Big John in 5. That's where I get my good buddy, Big John Richards, on the other end of the dais here, to pick out a beer from one of GBX's many, many taps, bottles, cans. They've also got a beer store out in front and a wine store out in front. You can get all kinds of crazy, cool stuff. Anyway, John picks a beer. We sniff it, we sip it, we kibitz about it. Sometimes John tells us a little bit about the brewery and sometimes a little bit about the history of brewing. And joining us for this craziness today is my fraternity brother of 50 plus years, E. Randall Porter from Dayton, Ohio. The pleasure center of Southern Ohio.
The birthplace of aviation.
The birthplace of aviation. Wings and everything.
Like pleasure center, better mix it with that if I were you.
So, John, after that illustrious opening and introduction, what do we have in front of us?
First, I have to address the fact that we're having our inaugural episode here in the friendly confines, if I can steal that word. I don't know, is that trademarked?
I don't think so.
That out.
No, I think we're good.
And I'm real glad these guys let us do this here. I've started pulling shifts here, so we got invited into the little our little slice of Narnia back here in the. What were it was the bowels of Greenville over across the street?
Yeah.
Right. So, sorry, this is our inaugural episode, so we're going long.
We're kind of feeling our way through this thing. And it's about damn time we drank some beer. So
right,
John,
so we're getting started on this one. We're getting started with a bang here today, as we're doing an industrial arts beer. And almost all of their beer is a collaboration with some other brewery. They do brew their own stuff, and these days, they didn't used to, nothing was ever just Untitled Art. For years, it was always Untitled Art and this brewery present this beer. And that's the case here, but now Untitled Art has a whole seltzer line they do, a whole non-alcoholic line they do, like a workout recovery line, and like basically an energy drink that's based on beer. And they're doing a lot of that just under Untitled Art. So I went and tried to figure out what they're doing with themselves, and I couldn't find out. They're very mysterious about the whole thing.
We know nothing. So that learning a little bit about the brewery part, I think we've covered all of that we're going to cover. It sounds like.
Right. So we're getting to this beer, which is a collaboration with Xul, which we have done a couple of their beers, I think, and they're out of Nashville or Knoxville? I can't remember. Knoxville? Yeah.
It's a terrific brewery if you're ever in the Knoxville area.
And we've had a couple of really fun beers that we did with them. This is a German chocolate cake barrel-aged imperial stout. 17% alcohol.
Is that all?
That's all. That's all they were able to get out of this one, I guess.
Jeez. Bikers.
Slackers.
Yeah.
So the can just says natural ingredients, but when you look it up on the site, it lists some of they used cocoa nibs, and they of course put it in a barrel, and I think they used some vanilla, and they used coconut flakes, and they used this whole menagerie of. I was going to read it, but I made the mistake of restarting my phone an hour ago, and it's still not back up. So we're here. I'm winging it a little with some of this and the information that I have on it from the past. This is such a fun beer, you guys. This is German chocolate cake in a glass.
We can-
and people have
you can
just
smell it.
Yeah, you can smell it from across the room.
Yep.
And it's just this big, rich, smooth beer that feels like it's going to be cloyingly sweet and just abusive with the fullness of this beer. But the balance is so good. There's still the little bite of the barrel, a little bit of the spice that comes out of the wood in the finish, and it cleans up nice. It lingers with you. It won't go away. But this is and that one of the reasons why we put it in these cute little glasses. These are our official GBX 4-ounce. Everything you can do anything here in a 4-ounce pour. So with all the big beers that we do here, it's a blessing to be able to have these great 4-ounce glasses to be able to serve these beers in. So let's get to it, guys.
All
Pitter
right.
patter.
Text Miss Lily.
It's just bonkers.
It really is.
What you need is one of those little floating candles in here so you could like actually blow it out. It's a birthday cake.
You might not need a floating candle. You just stand one up in it.
But I'd be afraid to get a flame too close to
No,
this.
that's probably true too. It's just amazing how much is in there. There's so much big, rich baker's chocolate that's in that. It's just
Wow, that
full
is
of
good.
chocolate.
That is so good.
Starbucks. Oh, am I allowed to use that? Is that trademarked?
I have no clue.
It's, I think, my theme for the day now. Starbucks used to make this drink, and it had an Italian name that I'm not going to remember, but it was literally just drinking chocolate. It was chocolate, not like hot chocolate. It was hot, but it was like melted chocolate, and it almost felt like ganache like you were sipping on like chocolate ganache. There's enough chocolate in this; it reminds me of that. It's just bonkers, and then you get the little. You feel the toasted coconut, a little of that bready kind of roasted toasted coconut flavor, and that little bite in the finish. But
It's dessert in a glass.
it's dessert.
It really is. It's amazing.
Once it sits for a minute, I get a little heat,
Yeah,
a little of the alcohol heat, but
Right.
there's none of that acetone
there's
kind of.
no obvious alcohol burn.
No.
You're right. Nothing on the nose that would give it away. It smells like chocolate.
Yep. Wow, this is
And
wonderful.
these guys do such good beer. All their collaborations, they do them with great breweries, but I haven't had a miss ever from Untitled Art.
And they're from where?
They're Wisconsin,
Wisconsin.
and
Wisconsin.
it's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
You have to think you're saying a G in the middle of that word. They have a production facility up there, near as I can tell, but they don't have a tasting room. So they use great. The name of the brewery's gone, and I'm not going to waste time trying to think of the name of the brewery right now because it's just out of my head. But it's in Wenatchee, Wisconsin, which doesn't mean anything to anyone.
It's in where in Wisconsin?
Wenatchee,
Wenatchee.
Wisconsin.
I'd like to live there just so I could say that all the time.
So
Coming to you from glorious Wenatchee, downtown Wenatchee.
some years ago, a friend of mine, and I went to college in Wisconsin, and some years ago, a friend of mine went to China and
Wenatchee,
talked about
China?
talked about how you go through the streets of like Beijing, and the street hawkers just won't leave you alone.
Right.
You pick whatever language, and they're going to switch to that language and start selling you whatever they want to sell you in that language.
Yep.
So he devised a language based on just shouting out the words of cities in Wisconsin. And it was the only way he'd get them to leave him alone. He'd be like, "Quanto menominee?" They're like, "What?"
That's hilarious.
So yes, it is fun to say the names of the towns in Wisconsin.
Anything else?
Wow, we've already gone long, like I promised. So I think we can probably call this one something. Call it done.
Call it done. Call it fini.
Call it cake.
Yes.
Boyos?
So damn lucky. See you next time.